Checking 1, 2, 3, yeah. Checking 1, 2, 3, yeah. Yeah, checking one, and a basin, yeah. Checking off my levels, yeah, and putting on my backup microphone. Ooh, wait a minute, sounds a little more echoey than I remember it. Checking one, hit, checking one, checking one. Check, too much. Bring it down, down. Bring it down. Hey, I can hear myself thinking, yeah. Let me turn on my backup microphone in case something fucks up. Okay, and turn this mother on. Woo! Okay, and 1, 2. Hey everybody! Hey, oops. Try this again. Take 1, 2. Okay, and hey everybody, and welcome back to the Nevahdren. So glad that you are all here, and thanks for bearing with me and all my different trials and feeling my way through this. I know the first one sounded probably a bit weird. I was messing around with like effects and levels and stuff, and it came out a little too. I think it came out too deep or something. And then I tried it with this, which with my gaming headphones, and it seemed to sound a lot better. So I'm sticking to it. I'll keep using this until something better comes along. And so what do I want to talk about? I'll probably what do you call it? What was I about to say? I hate when that happens very much. Fuck, I don't remember. Anyway, what do I want to talk about? I probably want to start off by saying, I was kind of listening to that last podcast and last episode that I was trying to do, and I found myself kind of holding back. I mean, I was trying to find a voice, and trying to have try maybe a deeper voice, and trying to sound all smooth and stuff. I've been listening to a lot of other podcasts lately and seeing what they sound like, maybe what they're talking about. And I was like, you know what, I can gain inspiration from that, but I gotta do my own thing. So so I'm gonna just find my own voice, and hope it doesn't annoy you, as sometimes my own voice annoys me. What I get a lot is that a lot of people say that I talk too fast, which I don't see it, but of course I probably do. I'm trying to. This is kind of hard. It's hard because I'm trying to train myself to, or I'm a little more conscious of my ums. I'm trying to get rid of that. I think I did a test run before, and I heard a lot of ums in it, far beyond what I had thought that I had done. I thought I was good at it. I was like, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. Then hit that playback, and I was like, oh my freaking God. I mean, come on, seriously? So I'm trying to keep that in check, just to sound a little more professional. Trying to sound a little more enunciated. Is that trying to enunciate a little more? So if I feel myself kind of mumbling and not, then you probably don't know what I'm saying. Just know it's not you, it's me. Anyway, again, let's see, where do I want to start? I think I went off track there for a second. I went to, one. No, I won't be doing that. Yeah, like I was saying, I was listening to the last episode, and I heard, and I was talking about things and not wanting to give out spoilers, and I felt that kind of held me back on things. It's kind of like, oh yeah, and then this happened, and then oh no, I don't want to spoil it for you. And then I'd be talking about another. I was talking about documentaries, and then I was talking about another documentary, and I was like, oh yeah, and then this part, and then and then I was like, caught myself again, and it was, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. So I can't do that. I think if I'm talking about older stuff, and you haven't seen it, then shame on you. But if you've seen it, stick around. If you don't mind spoilers, please feel free to have a listen. And I know. Now you're going to be doing it too, aren't you? Just be like, oh, no, he said it again. Well, so I'm going to try my best to let people know if I start talking about spoilers, or just know if I'm talking about a topic like a movie, or especially like older movies. If you haven't seen those, then too freaking bad. Then you should have seen it. It should be like required watching. So that's not on me, that's on you. But I will do my best to be like, hey, heads up, this might be spoilery. I'll probably start off with some kind of general synopsis. I think I'd say synopsis. So if I feel something might be a little spoilery, I'll be like, hey, stop here, or hey, I'm about to get into some detail about something, and if I can, maybe I'll be like, hey, just give me a couple of minutes, check back in in like 5 or something, check back in 10. I'll do my best to keep a little stopwatch, and just be like, okay, I'm talking about this thing, and then I'll be like, okay, here's the here's the breaks when I go into spoiler mode, so just be warned. Okay, so with that out of the way, I just made some notes again. I was talking about how I just kind of want this to be loose and freewheeling, and I'm just gonna jot down some notes, but I just want to be talking like I'm having this conversation with you. So thought I'd maybe dip more into a little bit about me. Want to talk about myself. So anyway, I think I'm just gonna jump into the messenger days, because that was probably the greatest decision I ever made. It was probably also a very life-changing, life-altering event in my life. And to be honest, it was actually something that that changed my life. Hold on, sip here. Yeah, it wasn't just a job. It was practically just his lifestyle. So I was working in this office. It was a part-time gig. Still kind of feeling my way around, wondering what to do with my life. I thought this was it. I'm gonna work in this office, and all right. It was at a travel agency. Okay, it kind of dates me. It was like so it kind of dates me. Yeah, I was working in this kind of travel agency before. Yes, there was a time before Expedia and Priceline and doing it all yourself. There were these offices called travel agencies, where they would do all the flights for you and things like that, and they'd have brochures, and yeah, I know you should know what it is. So I hated it. It was awful. There was like drama going on, and I didn't know these people. I had just kind of started, and there was kind of rumors going behind people's backs, and backstabbing. They'd be talking bad about one person, and then when that person was kind of walking by, it'd be like, "Oh, oh, hey," It was one of those. So there was a point in the day where I would run around downtown Chicago and drop off people's airline tickets and such, and that was kind of the highlight of my day. I got to wander the city. It didn't matter if it was cold or rainy or whatever. It didn't matter. I had a little, had my coat on. Had a kind of a little. It wasn't exactly a messenger bag, but it was kind of like this small little kind of, kind of like one of those replica medic bags, And I would go around the city, and I'd be dropping off these like airline tickets and stuff, and and here these people on bikes would come by, and they'd see me, and they'd be like, "Oh, hey, what company are you working for?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I'm working at a travel agency." It's like, "Oh, yeah, you should get yourself a bike, and you should be a bike messenger and stuff." And like, "Oh, hey, they got walkers too," and didn't think much of it, but I was like, I don't know, that sounds kind of cool, And then kind of a few days went by, and then again I would run into messengers like all the time and chit chat like a little bit, and and I was only working at this travel agency part time, that I was like, maybe I will just check it out. I'll apply, see what happens. So I did, and had no clue. I mean, now I know the ins and outs of being in the messenger business. All over the place, in, out, dispatching, office stuff. And biking, driving. I know pretty much everything about it. So I went to go apply. Looked for a job. Bike messenger needed. And I was like, oh, cool. Applied. And they're like, yeah, why don't you come in for an interview? And I was like, oh, yeah, no problem. So I got dressed up. Nice dress shirt, tie. I think I even brought a resume. Yep. And pretty much hired on the spot. Just pretty much walked in like, hey, job, all bike. Okay, you're hired. When can you start? I mean, I felt like an idiot, but all went well. And so yeah, that was kind of the beginning. After a few more weeks went by, Of course, I decided to do this kind of in winter, and I thought, hey, what a great idea! Why don't I do this outdoor job in the first week of January? So yeah, I got myself together. I had let a friend borrow the bike that I had. It was kind of trying to look like a mountain bike, but it really wasn't a mountain bike. It was just kind of going for the look. And then I had let a friend borrow it, and I gave it to him kind of hardly used. And when I told him I needed it back, his kind of jaw dropped a little bit. And he's like, yeah, I'll get it back to you. You know, and I had to keep on bugging him, like, hey, where's my bike? Where's my bike? And finally, he brings it back to me. And there's like stickers on it and tape here and there. Spokes had spokey dokes on it. You know, spokey dokes are like those little plastic things, you know, that you put on the spokes. So when you ride slow, it kind of like ding, 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 ding. And then, you know, you ride fast, and, you know, they, of course, you know, it gets all stuck to the side, so it doesn't hear it. But when you slow down, it's like ding, 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 ding. Yeah. I was like, what the fuck, dude? I was like, come on. But I kept the spokey dokes. And actually, whenever I ran that bike into the ground and I got another bike, I switched over to the spokey dokes as well. So yeah, I kept those. Excuse me. So I decided, yeah, first week January, best time to start. And I did not know downtown that well, and they put me in a van that was going downtown anyway. I was gonna help the guy pull down a package, and ran up to the building, came down, gave him the package, and they're like, okay, you know, you're on your own. I was like somewhere around like Lower Michigan, and just okay, and, you know, just stayed there until they gave me something. Well, it did get cold, and then I kind of rode around trying to find a warm place to kind of hang out in, and then got my first job, and then, you know, so cool, I got this, and then I got another, and, you know, if you're not from Chicago or you don't remember your downtown streets, let's just say that I was like I think I was on Washington, and I had to make a pickup on Madison, and I did not know where it was, and I was riding in the wrong direction for quite a while. And, you know, they're yelling at me like, where are you? You're supposed to be picking this up by now. I was like, well, I didn't want them to know that I had no idea where I was going. So, of course, I was like, I'm almost there. I think they caught on, and I'm glad that they didn't fire me. They did send somebody else to grab that package so it wouldn't be late. But yeah, that was kind of my first day, and then again, messengers might get this, but not other people. But I had dropped off a package in a building, and I thought that I would just get jobs right away, like, you know, and it would just you know, after that job. And if I didn't have one right away, then I would just wait a few minutes, and then I'd get something. So I hung out in this like vestibule, like, okay, give me that next job. And I was there for a while. 5 minutes, 10 minutes go by. 45 minutes. Like an hour and a half. And I stayed in that little vestibule, just waiting. I finally did catch on that when you're standing by, you can kind of hang out wherever you want. There's like a food court, like in the building across the street. There's there's another one where they had like really nice bathrooms in the lower level and coffee shops that you can hang out in. Yeah, I did not quite know that. So I pretty much spent a really good long time just waiting for that next job, and I think they did get back to me, like a few times, and I was like, oh, still here. They're like, okay, nothing yet. Like, hey, got a job yet? And I was like, oh, I'm still here, and that, I think that confused a lot of people. Yeah, it didn't take me long till it didn't take me long to finally get the streets and start getting the gist of it. And oh yeah, there's another here's another winning moment. I was I'm finding myself I'm clicking a lot. Sorry, I'll try and be conscious of that too. Kind of doing this sucky clicky thing. So sorry. So I there was one day, I think it was during my first week, and it started to rain, and I was like, oh man, it's raining. I guess does that mean we have the day off? Yeah, I thought it was pretty much a weather-related job, and if the weather was bad, like baseball players, that we wouldn't be out there. And kind of heard this tone on the so I called on the phone, like, are we working today? And I kind of heard this, there was this pause, and I kind of heard in his tone kind of like, yeah, we're working. And that's kind of when I realized, like, oh, doesn't matter what the weather is outside. Do I want to do this? Do I really want to do this? Well, there came a point where I had to make a decision. It was either continue at that office or become a full-time bike messenger. And I, of course, chose the latter, and I became a full-time bike messenger. And it didn't take long. I was still feeling things out, but it didn't take long for me to kind of start feeling like a full-fledged messenger and looking like one. And I remember my first messenger bag was kind of like this little. It was the same, replica medic bag. It was kind of small. It was yay big. I had that for a while. Then I just got some gym bag that was on sale, and had that for a while. Nothing waterproof. I didn't have anything waterproof. So whenever it would rain, I would buy garbage bags. I really looked like a crappy messenger. I covered myself in garbage bags, and I'd walk into offices, and I'd be this mountain of garbage bags and just dripping all over the place, and and it was that went on for quite a while, and I finally broke down and decided, like, hey, maybe I should buy some fancy gear. It's like, And that made all the difference in the world. Buy the freaking gear. Yeah, I started buying like Under Armour and Gore-Tex, and it was getting colder, or it was like summer and raining hard, and it was like nothing. It started getting cooler, and I was like, nothing. This is pretty great. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that was kind of my start there. So yeah, I have a ton more stories and things like that, or just other ways on how it changed me. But maybe I'll stop there for a little bit. Let's see. Oh yeah, it was kind of like hold on, more coffee here. Hold on one second. Yeah, I got more story. I'll flip flop back and forth and talk about that. Yeah, there was even a point where kind of wanted to do I was kind of inspired by like the likes of Kevin Smith and all that, and I wanted to make that indie movie, and it was going to be about bike messengers and things like that, and personal experiences, and I got some footage down. Got a bunch of friends that just donated a bunch of time to kind of act in my little movie and stuff, and I was ready. I was going to do this. I had a script and everything that I wrote out, and I was going well. I do have quite a handful of scenes, but then things just got crazy, and my dad got sick and that kind of thing. So yeah, I never got to finish it. I kind of for fun just want to put the pieces together, and I think I could slap together some 15-20 minute thing of like some of the footage that I got. So I hope nobody minds. I'll of course ask whoever I can get in touch with, and hopefully they get a kick out of it. But yeah, I mean, it was there's some really good moments in there, and again, it's one of those things where I kind of tried. I went out, got myself the best camera of the time, and bought all different kinds of software, and even got myself didn't really have a computer before. I had a laptop, that kind of thing, and went out and bought myself a computer and things like that to put my movie together. But yeah, it's I still have all of it, and I'm glad that I do. And like I said, maybe one of these times I'll throw it up on YouTube and put the pieces together and see what happens. Just kind of for fun. But anyway, movies. I love movies. How's that for a segue? It was always that pride, kind of like whenever you see like your kind of like a, well, I guess that doesn't work for everybody, like if there's like if there's a white guy in a movie, you don't go like, hey, yeah, there's a white guy, or hey, there's a black guy in the movie. Hey, I mean, like the smaller races, like, because you don't see them that often. Like, so Filipinos, I'm Filipino, and so whenever you would see a Filipino, you'd be like, oh, hey, represent, hey, there you go. So I mean, it's kind of like the same thing for like a bike messenger. When they would pop in movies every so often, TV shows, like, oh, hey, bike messenger, yeah, represent, yeah. Like I think, let's see, Jessica Alba, of course, when that show Dark Angel was out there, she was a messenger. And then, sorry, I snapped there. And then, I think Jessica Simpson did a movie where she played a bike messenger. I don't think I saw it. I mean, I think I saw that clip because hey, it's a messenger. Of course, the biggest, I think. Yeah, I think I'd have to say like the best known or biggest kind of messenger movie was the Quicksilver. Kevin Bacon, a very young Lawrence Fishburne. Who else was in that movie? That comedian. I think it was it Paul Rodriguez? Something like that. I want to say that. Yeah. I think Louis Anderson was in that. So yeah, it kind of had like this all-star cast. All-star as in the older before they were kind of famous. Before they were famous cast. So yeah, there's that. There's like some French movie. I think it was 7 Seconds. Oh, it was a Canadian. It was a French-Canadian movie about messengers. So yeah, so anytime. And sorry, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Double Rush. Premium Rush. And this is probably take 3. Probably. I don't really keep count. Anyways, this might be, like I said, it's something that I try to keep real. And I try to keep the flow going, that, I'm going to put bloopers, or outtakes in and just be all natural and just go with it. But the last time I was doing some filming, and flow was going pretty good, and then I kind of got into a babbly kind of I don't know. I just kind of went off on a tangent, and it wasn't quite as solid as I wanted. So I do apologize. So this is gonna be one of the reasons maybe that I do some kind of edit, some kind of splicing. So I want to kind of continue from the last time, and then continue on, and then yeah. So there. What are you gonna do? So anyway, I think I'm trying to go off of memory. I remember I was talking about I think I was talking about like Walking Dead stuff. It is one of my favorite shows out there, and it still kind of is. I'd say before I would watch it religiously. It was like Sunday would come around and everything goes off, phone goes off. Don't talk to me. And then it had a couple of good seasons, and then it kind of leveled off into something like meh, and then it got good, and then it got meh, and then it got good, and then but it always maintained a what do you call it? It was steady. It was steady and solid. I won't go too much into it, because I probably will talk about it more, because that's what this is all about, right? Talking about my favorite shows and talking about things that I enjoy, and giving my opinion, reviews, etc., whatever. So anyway. I think I wanted to talk about something like this like this season, which I think is kind of it surprised me. It's pretty decent, I think, and this kind of like goes along with how I think this kind of, I don't know, is it generation or how people nowadays, do I say people nowadays? But okay, remember like back in the day, which isn't like that far back in the day, it's not like 20-50 years or something, but before, it was kind of like they would give shows a chance to gain their footing, and some of those were kind of the turned out to be like the most beloved and long-running series. And but nowadays it's kind of like, I don't know if it's because competition is so fierce that they don't want to give shows like a shot. And there's a lot of shows out there too that they get a good solid cult following, as they say. But now it's like, oh, that first episode, the first minute in that first episode didn't get so many views and stuff. That's it. Exit. It's like, wait a minute. You didn't give it a shot. Like one example, huge example is like Seinfeld. I think like Seinfeld and like Cheers and all those shows, they weren't the top of the list. I think they started somewhere like towards like in like the rating situation that I think some of this, like things like Seinfeld and Cheers and stuff, which are like a couple of the most beloved shows or most referenced shows, or and they started off like in the back of the pack, and then they were somewhere like in the middle, and then I think it wasn't until like, was it like second or third season that it became like the number one show. And for like years and years, like Seinfeld was like the number one show for good, solid number one show for how many years? And again, it got a chance. And now things just get canceled after like an episode, Not even giving it a chance, not even, you watch it and you're just like, oh, this is a pretty good show. And then all of a sudden, you open up the laptop or pick up your phone and look at the news, and you're like, oh, show and show is canceled, after 30 minutes. I was like, hold on. I don't want it to, I'm trying to keep it flowing. I'm trying to keep it, so right now my thoughts are a little lost. I can't think of one right this very second. I might have to do a little research here and just pull up some shows. Went off on a tangent there. How it relates to kind of a Walking Dead kind of thing is, I feel like people, if it's not to their liking, all of a sudden it's people will shit on the show. It's like a loyalty kind of lost. It's like, give it a moment, give it a chance, give it, if it's not to your liking, it doesn't mean that why can't you be, it's almost like I'm saying, like, like a loyalty to a friend. No, it's not at that level. It's a TV show. TV shows come and go, like at a moment's notice. So, and maybe I'm just a little peed off because, some of my favorite shows have gone, I think, gone a bit too soon. But anyway, something like The Walking Dead, I feel like, you have this really superior first season, Then the second one, it slowed it down a little bit, and people, you Google or you MSN News or whatever, and like, oh, show dropped off 50% of its viewers and blah 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 blah. I was like, well, what happened? I remember from season 1 to season 2, yeah, they slowed it down, but I feel like people just don't give it a chance, to me, and which I think it's how the show is, it's a show about people surviving the apocalypse. It's not a zombie show with people in it, This is following the people around and how they're surviving and coping and So when they do get their, again, spoiler if you haven't seen it. So if you want to turn it down for 5 or look away from YouTube for about 5 minutes, I'm gonna just Google here. Okay. So, yeah, when they get to Herschel's farm, yeah, it slowed down, but, yeah, why are people like, oh, I hate it now? Oh, it's not like what? Well, I mean, aren't these the characters that you kind of liked and connected with, and isn't this kind of fascinating on how are they going to survive in this world? So I mean, yeah, it slowed down, but it kind of enhanced the story. This is not a 2-hour movie, where it's like kind of go. This is a series, So it bothers me a little bit whenever I open up those those articles or something, and I'm like, and I'll like skim through it, and I'll be like, I'll yeah, sorry. It's like I'll Google it or something, and they're like, oh, highly anticipated show and dropped off in numbers or It's like, well, wait, it's like people just, not giving it this chance. Hold on here. So I pulled up this article and I'm just looking through it. That lasted quite a bit. Yeah, and even shows that have gotten like critical acclaim. Hannibal, kind of the early years of Hannibal Lecter. I mean, amazing premise. If you've ever seen Silence of the Lambs and that, I mean, this was like a good, solid, movie with superior acting. But again, just because the numbers weren't there, people just wanna, it's almost like, oh, don't give it a chance. It didn't hold my attention for like 5 minutes. Excuse me. So yeah, that's one of my problems with. Anyway, I went off on tangents again. I guess it's like I had the same feeling. Like, okay, it's not as good as it was like that season, or oh, the season's picking up, and then like later on, it's like, oh, okay, that wasn't as good. But I enjoy the people and the characters, and then I enjoy seeing what what they're going through and how they're surviving, and you kind of watch The Talking Dead, and you talk about it afterwards, and same thing with me. It makes me think, like, oh, what would I do? Would I be part of this community? Would I be, would I be a part of that community? And it is interesting because I know that they do like interviews and the Talking Dead, and they bring up that like it, because we follow that one group, and it's like, well, what if that character was found by the bad guy group, because it really isn't good or bad in this world now. It's the way that the world is, and it's how you survive. You don't know that if this group is good and that group is bad, or so it's like, you're gonna attack this group because they seem to be strong, and you want to that's plausible. It could happen if there was I'm not that a zombie apocalypse can happen, but I mean I feel how it would be, that people will pick their groups, and you want to be strong, and you don't know if you could trust another group of people, and so this season of The Walking Dead is a nice change, a nice surprise. We've again, spoilers. Okay, give me a second, and now. So I mean, with like Rick Grimes and him being off the show, which is Let me talk about that real quick. So I was like, disappointed a little bit with his exit. There's a but. So I mean, let me the whole, there is a but in this. Okay, so the whole, like, when he was up on that bridge, and it was like leading up. It was a big lead up until to Andrew Lincoln's last episodes or Rick Grimes' last hurrah, and then bridge explodes, and like I was kind of like, yeah, that's a Rick Grimes way to go. I mean, holy crap, like up on that bridge and just staring it down, and he's bleeding out, and he's like looking at his friends, and he's looking at what he's built up, and then he takes that shot. I mean, and it explodes, and you're just like, yeah, way to go, Rick Grimes. Because I was wondering, I think he's. I mean, when I was talking to my girl, it was kind of like, it can only be two ways for Rick Grimes. It's either he was going to be kind of left behind or go off on his own alone with Michonne and kids and all that stuff, and I was even thinking that he would end up with with Negan. It would be Rick Grimes, Michonne, kids, and Negan, and everybody else did not want them to be a part of it anymore, because of what Negan did, and and Rick Grimes protecting him, or helping him live. I thought that the communities would kind of banish them, and then that would be his kind of farewell. Or Rick Grimes was just gonna go out in he wasn't gonna get bit. There's no way. Or he would go out in a huge epic way, and that's what I thought happened. Until they got to like the very end of the show where he gets rescued, not rescued, but put on the helicopter and taken to Garbage World, not really Garbage World. And I was like, when they showed that, I was like, oh man, it's a Steve Yeun thing. It's the Glenn, fake out. And I was like, no. You did this with Glenn, I don't know how people are gonna. But then I watched Talking Dead, and they were like, and this was the butt part. But they were talking about on the Talking Dead about how they were going to make a couple of movies to continue the Rick Grimes story. And I got a little excited about that. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely something that I'm all kind of jazzed up about. Which, then when they said that, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. It'll be interesting to see what goes on in Rick's life, for those 6+, it's gonna be 6+ years, I would guess. Like what happens in that time span, or wherever he is, like where is he while while the rest of the communities are surviving over here? What is going on with him? So I give, until I see those Rick Grimes movies, which I have high hopes for. It sounds like it would be amazing. So I have to say that I am excited about that. And who's to say that there isn't going to be some kind of come back around to the group, maybe finds them again. So that'll be interesting. And then now they brought in the Whispers, and that's really cool. So it's as much as I miss a lot of the characters that we've traveled with on the show, it has almost evolved into a completely different show, and I'm really happy about that. And yeah, I think it's going to a decent place. So that's what I'll talk about that. And real quick, Fear of the Walking Dead. It has, when they changed it around a little bit, I was like, oh shit, it's gotten good. It got really, really good. With the addition of Morgan, I thought that was great. And well, first off, to me, I was kind of giving it a chance. I stayed loyal to it just because it was part of the Walking Dead universe, and it started off with an interesting premise. This is like, because we never saw how the shit went down, and I thought it was interesting because I thought that they would be kind of like they would do the show as if almost it was like a day-to-day kind of thing, because I think the series started off with like that first week, and that was interesting. It wasn't action-packed and was zombies and stuff, but it was interesting to see. And again, made you think of how would you react if that shit went down, So I really liked. I kind of really liked that aspect, but it was a little on the slow side. Excuse me. Sorry about that. So it was a little bit kind of on the slow side. And then they escaped the city, and then we kind of got the group that we were going to be with, and it started picking up. It's like, okay, cool, and their choice was to be out on the water, which again, good choice. I didn't think the entire show could be on the water. I mean, it seemed a little tough to kind of do. But yeah, and then they made their way back onto land. And I think they still didn't quite have a solid footing of the show. Because, they ran into the same exact things as The Walking Dead. I don't know why I said it like that. The Walking Dead. But it fell into the trap of The Walking Dead, where they kind of take over this community, and then, hey, who's leading this community? How are we going to survive? Get kicked out. Hey, there's another community. We join them. They're I don't know if they're a good group or not. Feeling it out. Hey, then hey, here's another group, and it's kind of like it's like I get this from The Walking Dead, but I love them. Their characters have grown, and we've kind of traveled with them. And now you're kind of doing the same thing, and I'm not quite as attached to you, so it's like, meh. But then they brought on Morgan and the other kind of new characters, and I love them so much. So you got Morgan. You got Garrett Dillahunt. His character is fucking awesome. I love Maggie Grace too. Her character is pretty badass. But I love him. And hopefully it doesn't go back into the whole. Because I know spoiler. Because so at the end of last season, they kind of come across, I think it was like a factory. I have to just kind of see it again, but I think they come across a factory, and Morgan's talking them into building a community kind of thing, and it's like, okay, I hope they take somewhat of a different take on it, just because, again, we went through that in The Walking Dead, so we don't want to see it again in Fear of the Walking Dead, But them chasing after the guys who kind of messed them up and destroyed the thing, and they're surviving in the storm. I mean, I like when they were out on the, out in the fields. It's kind of like the Walking Dead after the prison. That's probably one of my favorite seasons, when they're all just wandering. They Sorry, not the prison. The prison when shit went down at the prison and they were all kind of went their separate ways and that kind of thing. Wondering what was going to happen. I mean, that was a really good season, I thought. Let's see. Jenna Elfman, she's got a good character, kind of like that. So I mean, I really feel like they transitioned and they made it kind of somewhat different, and I like it. So if you kind of watched a little bit of the Fear of the Walking Dead and then you kind of dropped off a little bit, and then stopped watching it, highly recommend going back, because this last season was pretty freaking awesome. So that's what I kind of wanted to say about kind of that. It is probably going to pop up again. It is one of my favorite shows, so I'm sure I'll be talking about it again. Which again, this is what this is all about. My own little therapy session and talking about shit that not like it's a troubled therapy kind of thing. It's one of those things where I would start talking about things and get all excited about it, and in my head everybody watches my shows, or everybody watches the things that I do or likes the things that I do, and they'll kind of look at me like, huh? Well, what was that? What are you talking about? And I'll be like, oh, you don't watch it like religiously and analyze it and talk about it like I do. Oh, okay. But what I will say is, like, me and my friends sometimes we'll get into like talking about movies and what's upcoming, or talk about like this and that movie, or what we like, and kind of like trading recipes, because we'll be like, oh, have you seen this movie? And they'll be like, oh, no. It's like, oh, I highly recommend that, and vice versa, and they tell me movies and stuff, and so you get us together. I mean, we could talk about movies and stuff like that for like forever. I think I will cut this part here, and I'm going to tack this part on to the end of the other, and part of episode 3. Yeah, so I'm going to put this part of episode 3, and again, I do apologize. Like I said, I'm going to keep it real, but I just kind of went off on a big tangent, and just got all babbly. So I kind of wanted to, turn it all off and take a breath and just kind of give kind of maybe more of a fresh and more direction, and kind of like talk. So again, actually I'm probably going to start another podcast. Or start taping another podcast thing right after I shut off the camera and take a break. And so if I'm wearing the same thing that I was, on camera from like the last episode, you're not seeing things. Yes, I might be wearing the same thing and just doing another podcast like later in the day to throw onto the computer. So everyone, have a good night, good day to you. And this is Rec 113 signing off.